Yes, the clap.
Clap is very important.
The clap is very important.
I have struggled so much if the clap is not there.
So if you do something curriculum,
Yeah.
that I pretended to be the boss there and everybody believed me.
Oh, this card is full. Wow. We just broke all the records today.
Yeah.
I'm Parth and you are listening to Dhvani. Okay, so this discussion that you're going to listen to in the subsequent 2 episodes with Katinka are the most important episodes of the entire podcast in both the seasons. And I'll tell you why. So back in 2020, when I was planning to start a podcast, by the book, how it happens is that if you are planning to start a podcast, you should talk to the host, be a guest on somebody else's podcast first, so you can get a feel of how it is to record a podcast, what all steps are involved. Back in 2020, Katinka used to run a podcast called the Student Life Podcast in Maastricht, Netherlands, where I went to pursue an MBA, and I was there in Maastricht at that point. Even before the pandemic started, I was trying to conceptualize an idea for a podcast. I started looking around for people who were into podcasting at that point, and there were very few people in my network who were into podcasting. And somehow I knew Katinka from some reference, from some acquaintance, and I contacted her. I wrote to her that I am interested to talk about my student life, because that's the kind of discussion she used to have on our show, because she is a student life coach. I told her that I wanted to talk about my struggles and my experience doing an MBA in the Netherlands, and she was very kind and she accepted, and we had an amazing discussion, that too remotely. Even though we were in the same city, we did the discussion being at our respective homes. Eventually that episode got out. Maybe I'll just check with Katinka if she's okay with that, and I will publish the same episode on this podcast as well. Maybe you can do that and she can publish this episode on her podcast. That's a very common thing actually. So I understood a lot of process from Katinka, how a podcast is made, how the discussion is done, operationally what kind of things are required to be done, and all that. So basically, point number 1 is that I owe this podcast to Katinka. Point number 2 is that this discussion that you're going to listen to happened just before I was moving out of the Netherlands and going to a new country, that was Greece at that point. So it has been fairly long since this discussion happened. So apologies to Katinka and all the listeners who have been waiting for this episode for a very long time. The other part is that Katinka has been one of the most open guests that I've ever hosted on this podcast. She has talked about things that are so personal to her, yet they are so important for everybody to understand. She has her own business, her own struggles, opportunities, challenges that she has went through to make this business. And I would humbly request all of you listeners to please support her in whichever way you can. She has a website of her own. She does a very, very noble job of coaching students about their lives, education, career, and everything in between. Something that is often neglected. We don't counsel students in the way they should be counseled, at least not in India. So this is a discussion that is very important from many different angles. The kind of emotions that we have discussed, the kind of opportunities that we have discussed, the importance of counseling, coaching in a student's life. And I can go on praising Katinka for all her amazing work that she has been doing, but also the kind of things that she opened up about in this very discussion. But it will take a long time. So without any delay, let's jump on to my discussion with Katinka Van Khan. Here we go.
I'm Katinka, born and raised in Maastricht, so I'm very proud of that. I was raised with a lot of different cultures. My parents split up when I was very young, so I grew up with 5 siblings in 3 different families in 3 different places in the Netherlands with, about 5 different backgrounds, I think. So Dutch, Indonesian, Chinese, Surinamen, and American.
Nice.
Yeah. So very diverse there. And I think that also gave me from a young age, obviously the whole divorce thing, but also growing up in all those different cultures gave me a very broad perspective on life and things. And that's something that I still see now. I'm very happy that Maastricht is an international city and I work with a lot of international people, because that's something that I miss in the Dutch people in a way, like culture in a way. Yeah, so that's a bit of my background story. I'm 28 years old now. I've had my own business for almost 4 years, going on 4 years. Yeah. And I mainly focus on student life coaching and starting startup coaching as well now. Mm-hmm. And the student life coaching for me is really about the students that study, but also the students of life. That's what I've discovered.
Right.
You never stop learning.
Yeah, right.
You shouldn't stop learning.
Yeah, that's true.
And where that came from me, so I started Van coaching about 4 years ago, and then it was really about working with differently developed youth. So I have my bachelor's in social work, a diploma for autism-friendly coaching, and I really wanted to specialize in autism. And I was very happy about that I could have my own business, because when I was studying, I already knew I'm not going to work for a boss. That doesn't work. And especially in the healthcare system that we have here in the Netherlands. I know a lot of the world thinks that it's amazing what we do here, but it's also very toxic and I would say criminal, even up to a point where it's all about the money and the people just get lost in it.
Well, I think healthcare, medicine, I would talk about specifically medicine is something that, interests me so much in terms of the business, how the business works. For example, I take this medicine called salbutamol, that costs for 15 cents in India for 30 tablets. And here, I had to pay 30 euros for the same thing.
Crazy.
So I don't understand how this works.
It's crazy. It's all about the money. And what we did here in the Netherlands, so we built a system where obviously there is a lot of money here and we pay taxes and, we have this quite solid system built up, and there is money to support people that need, mental health support or people that just need help with living, living their lives, just that extra care.
Right.
But then again, there are businesses there that are also funded by the government. So the government has its own businesses that provide this care, which is also paid by tax money. So the government is you're kind of paying yourself in a way.
Right.
So what they do not want is people like me to also help and care for these people, because then the money gets lost. Then the money gets out of the system.
Oh, yes.
So I did that. I worked with these, I always call them kids, but some of them were 35. But they're my kids.
Students. Kids is also.
And after about a year, I was so sick and done, because you're fighting a government, which is like a losing battle, obviously. Well, it's not a losing battle. There are changes being made. But after a year already, I thought, I'm not going to survive this. Like, I'm already almost in a burnout. I'm very happy that I have my own company, but they're making it impossible for me to do my work. And actually...
Yeah, fighting the government is like...
It's crazy.
Fighting the biggest criminal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, that burnout feeling and a bit of depression as well is something that I've experienced throughout my life. Well, the burnout came later on, but the depression part, I think I was depressed the first time when I was 8, probably. So it's something I've been dealing with all my life. And I felt that coming up again, and that, it's not good. Also, I had my own business, so there's no... If I really get sick or really get in a depression, then I wouldn't have that safety net or income anymore. Yeah, so I needed to do something there.
Right.
And that's when I discovered creative consciousness here, and luckily in Maastricht, so it was 10 minutes on the bike. And I did a course there, and that was really about personal development.
Right.
And in 4 days, like, my whole life changed, because I discovered more about who I was, what type of problems I had and where that came from, and how society works, how we as human beings work.
Right.
Because I always say that that's what we never learn in school. You do your presentations about guinea pigs and cows in the clouds, but nobody ever tells you, so this is a human being.
That's true, actually.
Yeah,
That's so true.
It has a mind and a subconscious mind, and this is what society built around that.
Yeah.
So in this course, I really discovered that, and then I rage quit everything. So I stopped everything I had, and I started studying to be a consciousness coach. Finished that in 6 months, and that's where student life coaching, also the idea of student life coaching came from, because I thought this should be a class, and it doesn't matter what, if you study economics, social work, if you are becoming a doctor, it doesn't matter what you're studying. Personal development should be part of your curriculum.
Absolutely. There are so many things now I can think about asking you, and I think this has to be a multiple parts like series now.
Okay, sure.
Even when I move out, then we do this.
I have the task cam. So.
You have the task cam already. And we can do the way we did the first time. So, but let me start with this very basic thing where I can see that you somehow linked everything together, right? What you would have felt over the period of time yourself, like experiencing things firsthand, that is one. Then studying something and then realizing the value of it in different perspectives and then linking it. That's how I see a lot of other entrepreneurs, going towards. They just somehow connect the dots, right?
Yeah, that's what you do. Because, what an entrepreneur does is you find a problem and you have a solution.
Right.
You sell a solution.
Right.
or you invent something that everybody needs. That's the other option. So that's also why I started the student life coaching, because this is a problem that I had. I didn't even know I had it, but I discovered that I had that problem.
That's what.
I discovered what could fix it.
Yeah.
I fix it.
Yeah.
And I want to give that to all the students around, in the world, actually. I'm starting a master's now, but let's go for the world in the long term.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I think this is something that could help everybody, and it could benefit people on a very personal level, but also the whole world. Because if I look around me at the world, that doesn't make me happy. There's so many things happening. And I think this is really, if we can teach our kids or our students these things and that personal development and looking in the world in that way, then I think all of us together could create a beautiful world.
Absolutely. And one part of the reason is, I think this is fundamentally everywhere in the world, but I can tell you about India, that in our schools we don't have anything related to entrepreneurship ever. Or happiness or consciousness. These things are so fundamental. You're just trying to be a part of the rat race. By the end, you realize that, what am I doing?
Exactly.
Most of the people go through that phase. Now the government, education authorities realize that this is much more important. So I think in that case, your job becomes more important. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Because there's a reason for that. That it's not part of the curriculum, because you cannot rate it. And if you cannot rate it, if you cannot give somebody a grade, then you cannot put a price on it.
Exactly. Everything boils down to costs.
Yeah, and it's also because I'm fighting, well, not really fighting Master University, but sometimes it feels like that. Because in a way, I want to be right? I want to be in a university with a class or a course or whatever, but I don't want to be part of the university, so I don't want to be an employee.
Right.
I want to do it with my own
want
business,
to be independent,
or do it as like one course that they pay me for.
Right.
And I was going to do that at the Master Summer School, so I was very excited about that. And that I finally got that foot in the door. Then Corona happened, obviously, so we couldn't do it anymore. And they started talking about the Master Winter School, and now they made an online campus. And I wrote 2 different courses. One about personal development and education, and the other one was more for the startup coaching thing. And I mean, they liked it, didn't come back to me for 2 weeks, and then I sent them another email like, hey, what's up? Because I see all these other programs appearing on Instagram, and then they said, we talked about it, and we decided we wanted to go for more of an academic range, more academic courses. I'm like, why? You have a whole university already,
so
right?
Many people,
everything is academic that you have.
Exactly.
So if you do something extracurricular, if a student makes that, and they have to pay for it.
Right.
So if you as a student want to do something on that, follow a course or do a workshop, you pay for it.
Right.
So leave that choice up to the students. Do I want to have more academic things, more research things? Fine, pay for that. I mean, if you want to learn more, definitely go for it. Or do I want to spend my money on something for me? Maybe you don't get extra credit for it. I think they should definitely do that. But okay, if you're not ready, don't. But give them the option, because even now universities refuse to tell students that I exist.
Right.
The school psychologist is not allowed to tell the students that I am around the corner and they can get help from
exactly, because that's a threat for them in a way. I think to somebody in the
to somebody somewhere in the paychecks, I guess. Yeah, it's a threat. They don't. I don't know. They don't want to do it. It's weird. It's a weird system.
That's what I was coming next to. Although you already started with that area of discussion, that there would be opportunities. Definitely, there would be opportunities. That's why you think about the solution in the first place. But the threats, the challenges that you face that surround you. So bureaucracy is something that I see as a big challenge for an entrepreneur.
Challenge 1 is spelling the word, and then the whole definition. Oh yeah, bureaucracy. I hate it.
That's what
it's a thing.
So like, what's the? I'm sure that you would still be in the process of figuring out things that I should have talked to this person, or I should have gone through this route. These things are something that you eventually get onto. But if there is something, some story or some incidents related to anything that you really would like to tell people, that this is how it happens from the back, because a lot of people don't understand. I'll tell you my perspective or generic perspective. What people have is that they don't want to. I'm talking about individual level, not the bureaucratic level. So people would think that I don't need coaching.
Yeah.
I'll just follow some influential, inspirational Instagram handles maybe and watch some videos.
Instagram with the quotes.
Yeah.
They tell me to get out of my comfort zone. I'll be fine.
Yeah. and actually it gives you one, kick of things.
Yeah.
Like there's this guy called Jay Shetty. I don't know if you know him. So he makes like 1 minute videos, but they are like so inspirational. But I have personally felt that that's very short lived.
Yeah, of course. And it opens up your mind. So I would never say stop researching that, stop looking at those Instagrams or that they're not valuable. They definitely are. It's also where I started at some point. Yeah. But the question is, why wouldn't you be worth more? Yeah. Because this is very broad information, right? This video is made and I don't know, like 10 million people around the world look at it and get inspired. So I think that's great. But it's really difficult. I would never say impossible, but it's really difficult for you as an individual
One size fits all kind of a thing doesn't happen there.
No, it doesn't happen. So you can think, oh, that's great, wonderful. But then to apply it in your own life, your own business, your own, personal things that you're working on, I would say near to impossible. Because you just need somebody to do that with you. That's why I love doing the coaching, because that's really what you can do with a coach. Sometimes you need a psychologist if there's things from the past, or a therapist is all fine. Definitely take care of that. But I still have coaching conversations. Obviously, I know a lot of coaches, and I text them sometimes, hey, who wants to do a session with me? And not just when I'm stuck, but also when I'm like, everything is great, so let's make sure that it keeps going great. Or I want to figure out what it is that I'm actually doing right. Right now, I'm very much in a really awesome flow. And that also makes me aware, like, there is something that I'm doing right now. And that's why things are going great. So let's figure that out. Or if I'm just, everything's okay. But okay, I mean, it can be enough, but it doesn't have to be, right? So you're allowed to want more.
Exactly.
And that's also what a coach can really help you with. So as I coach everybody, well, not everybody around me, but as I work as a coach, I still get coaching as well. Because it can only get you to another level.
Right. And on this point, I can tell you that, there are, like, honestly, I'll tell you some things. So don't mind whatever I'm going to say to you. But what I said as the generic perception is my perception as well. That why should I need coaching? Yeah. I have so many things to do, and this is the last thing that I care about.
It costs you money.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing that you said about, that you are in this flow, that is actually something that I've been observing, like, through your Instagram handles only. Yeah. Like, I watch your stories every day, almost every day. And then I think about that, how is she so motivated, Yeah. And then I pressure myself to get motivated like that in a good way, not in a bad way. I'm like, if she can be happy, then I can be happy as well. So that's how this thing works beautifully, I think. And also what you told about this thing, that you need to keep in check some things, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
No, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So I think there your thing comes in a lot.
And it's wonderful if you give yourself the opportunity to figure that out. I mean, I coach students, and when I started like a year and a half ago, I started talking to the student hotel and universities, talks, different organizations around students here in Maastricht. Yeah. And the first thing all of them said is like, why do you want to coach students? Because, they don't have any money.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
But it's not. It's really not true. Like, they spent all their money, but
yeah, that's also true.
But it's not like the money's not there, because I tell them, like, all these students have phones that are way, way more expensive than mine. Right. They have the newest Nikes. They have laptops. They have iPhones. They have, my
choices.
Everything. Yeah, I mean, for the student hotel to tell me that they said they don't have money. I'm like, well, your room costs them 900 euros a month.
Yeah.
So
that's so true.
Don't tell me. Also, another thing, and I don't know maybe how careful I need to be with my words on this podcast, but I see them. I see them on Instagram. I see them in town. I see them in the weekends, in the clubs. Yeah. And I always say, a gram of cocaine here in the Netherlands costs a coaching session, basically. And they use one or two of those in the weekend. And if you see the beers, and I see them going for lunches and dinners, and I know what it all costs. Yeah. So it's not like the money is not there. That's never the problem.
It's definitely there. It's
so what do you want to spend it on? And that goes for the students that study, the students of life. That goes for everybody, even people, because I've had people that called me that say, I'm in debt and I want a coach to get out of that, but I don't have money. Right. So that's like a chicken egg situation. Yeah. But I'm very much convinced that the egg was before the chicken. Yeah. So that's what I always tell them. Like, you have to start somewhere. Yeah. If you want somebody to support you with your finances, then find them. And yeah, you have to pay them money. That's a bit of an investment.
Right.
But if you don't do that, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And also it's that feeling of, do you deserve this? Because I think everybody deserves this.
Absolutely.
As much as you deserve to have a nice phone and to have nice shoes.
Right.
But it's a bit of more of a long-term investment.
Yeah.
And that's difficult because we don't learn to look at it that way.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, me personally, I always say, what can you do? Let's start there. What could you do? If you really wanted it, if you wanted to commit to this, what could you do? And a few of the students that started with me this year said, well, maybe I can do it, but then start payments a month later. Okay, fine. If you can do that, let's agree. Let's commit to that, and we'll start coaching now, and you'll pay in a month.
At least you'll get that commitment out of that person. That's so,
and then for me, that's fine. I'm quite chill in that way because I also trust that you will do the work, that you obviously will pay me, we'll sign a contract, so you have to. But also I trust that if you do that, if you decide that you will make those changes, because it is an investment. So you will make sure, and you will do everything you have in your power to actually make those changes and achieve those goals.
I think that's the best thing that I like about capitalism in general, that it pressures you into doing some things that you have to be answerable. When you invest your money, time, efforts into things, then you have to be answerable. Because I can tell you this from my perspective, where maybe on the similar levels I can say that entrepreneurially I tried a lot from the past 2-3 years, and that's the reason why I'm here actually in the first place. Because I wanted to broaden my horizons to be able to deliver a better service or product, what I was trying to do. But like, getting money out of the pockets of people is so difficult. And that's what you said, that you have to start somewhere so you can just connect it eventually. So that I absolutely relate to. I think it's a very tricky thing.
You say it's very hard to get money out of people's pockets.
Even when you believe, it for a fact that what you are giving as a product or a service is absolutely worthy. You know it in your heart. The people that are along with you, who are the close ones, they know it. But somehow to convince the masses, it is very difficult.
Yeah, it can be, and it's sometimes it's just a matter of time. As entrepreneurs in general, we get very impatient.
Patience is something.
And I see that this year. So in the last year, I worked very hard, and I started new projects, and even doing a lot of things for free. Because I always say you have to give away a lot before you get it back. Investing is really a thing. You have to either spend money or spend time. To show that first year or 2 or 3 years, to show what you have. And I did that last year a lot. And then obviously we got the Corona crisis, and I lost everything, basically all my work that I had. And now they cannot wait to pay me. And I upped my prices for some people that I tried to start a project with around students, some organizations last year. And at some point they said, okay, that's very nice that you do what you're doing. And it's working because a lot of students are coming here now. So keep doing it, but we're not going to pay you anymore. Now we're a year later, and now they came to me and they're like, okay, so we want to start this in a different location, in a different city. I was like, sure. And a Maastricht game as well. So like, okay, you want that? I'm like, okay, sure. Going to cost you 4 times what it would have cost you last year. But now they know what I'm worth, and they see these problems in that way. Corona, the whole crisis and the lockdown and everything, it really helped me now. Like it really knocked me down half a year ago.
People need this more than ever, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing is that now all these organizations are confronted with it so much. There's no getting around it anymore. There is no getting around mental health and the fact that your students need support, and the fact that personal development is so important for your students. They kind of try to shove it away, deny it in a way. Yeah, and now you cannot anymore, because for an organization like the Student Hotel, students arrive here and they get their room and they have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks.
That's so sad.
They cannot do the welcoming drinks anymore, so they try to do things digitally, but already, even though they got all their rooms booked, so students are still coming. But they also said, like, do you have something to do for me? Because I'm already scared. That's one thing. That I'm going to be lonely. And there's nothing to do. And where do I go if I get sick? Because you're in a different country. And, so there's so much that they have to think about now that they really thought, like, we need that extra support.
That's true.
now they came back to me and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Because this is what I've been telling you guys all along. And with the university, it's a bit of a different story because the money is coming from somewhere else, obviously.
Right.
But I mean, there's no getting around it anymore, which makes me very happy. Like the whole situation is a bit sad, and I never want students to be unhappy. Like that's not where I make my money from. I make my money from making sure that they can live their best life, even if they don't have any problems. We can always make it better and discover things. That's what I enjoy most. But that awareness around the whole personal development and mental health, I think that's really good. It's sad it has to be in a way that is so extreme as a corona crisis and a lockdown. But I'm happy that something came out of that for me, and also I think for the future students and these organizations to actually make a change, because it's about time.
Actually. And I think that, like, this is something that I would have got out of you, but let me put it right away that I think that of course the whole situation is bad for the entire world, for everybody, but if you really start thinking about it, you can actually get a lot out of this situation which you are in. And that's what happened to me, I guess, and a lot of people that I know, that they finally got time to think seriously about things, that what do they want to do, some passions they want to follow. So it connects, I think.
Reset on life. And that goes for everything in life, right? I always say that in Dutch. How can we translate
You can say in Dutch first, and then we will translate.
Je hebt geen pieken zonder dalen. So you don't have any highs without your lows.
Yes, absolutely.
That also means that as low as you go, there's that peak there as well. The only thing is that you have to find it. So look for it. If you feel bad or if something doesn't work out, because I've been told no a lot last year. And every time I'm like, okay, cool. That means that there's something better out there.
That's So
let's
that's the mindset
project.
That you need to have, I guess, because people get really, sad after getting a no. And they're like, maybe this is not meant for me. Maybe I shouldn't do this.
And especially that's the thing that I love most about being an entrepreneur, that I can change everything every day. It's what I did last year. Right. I quit everything. I was on a week holiday. I went to Bulgaria to Sofia for a week. And the day before I came back, I got a text message and with some of my, well, not colleagues, but some other entrepreneur that I was working together with, that she changed everything while I was away, which was not good for me. It was good for everybody but me. And I told her, like, no, I'm not going to do this. This is not the way that we're going to work together. If I leave for 5 days and you change everything and I have to come back in a situation that does really not benefit me, time-wise, money-wise, the people in the group that she, all the people that she didn't like, she divided on my side. And I'm like, this is not how I want to work. And if you do it now, you're going to do it again.
Obviously.
And then I'm going to have to I always choose me. That's what I did then. And I never stopped. I always choose me. So I rage quit everything. It was really tough because the people that I was working with, I really loved them. I still see a lot of them. I'm still in touch with all of them. But that's more on a personal thing, not work-wise.
Professionally,
professionally. And I stopped and I threw myself completely into that coaching studies. That's also why I finished it that quickly. And I don't regret it. That's really what you have to do as an entrepreneur. You can do that. You can change everything today if you want to. And that also means that sometimes it's really sad if you're looking forward to something and you don't get it. Or if you have work, freelancers have that a lot, where you have work that you enjoy. And at some point, the people on the other side are like, okay, thanks, you did what we needed you to do. Bye. And that can be a bit painful. But see it as a positive thing. If you want to cry about it, do, definitely. Or feel, but I do that consciously, right? I'm like, sometimes I call friends of mine, I'm like, dude, I am so, like, oh, my life sucks so much right now.
You need to do that often. I do that a lot.
I feel so bad for myself. This is like the worst thing ever. Okay, got it out of my system, and I
now you're back on track. Absolutely.
Gave that space as well. Absolutely. And there's going to be something else. There's always something else, something new to discover. So, it's great.
It's a tricky thing, I would say. Now, this is a dichotomy that I'm going to talk about. So one is where you said that you had to quit some situations and you became self-employed or self-sufficient, that you're focusing individually now. You have the control of things in your hand. Let's say that, because I know how partnership kills the situation, and often when friendship is involved and then you are friends with your, a partner with your friends in a business, that's very, very tricky. I've been through that myself.
It can get messy.
But at the same time, and I think your idea fundamentally also relies on the same fact that eventually people are what matter. People matter in the end, right? So you have to collaborate with people. You have to seek help. Like, you cannot do everything by yourself, right? This is the biggest challenge an entrepreneur faces in the start, where she starts with the idea of, I'll do everything. I'll do the designing, I'll do the music, I'll do this, I'll do the promotion also, I'll make the logo also for everything. But that's not how it works. No. And I think that it shouldn't work that way, right?
You shouldn't have to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
And it's something, we're conditioned that way. You have to, if you don't do it on your own, you didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
And you didn't do a good job,
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Definitely try everything. I've tried everything. I built my own website. I tried my finances.
Yeah.
Great. I know how to do it. I know I don't want to do it anymore. So
exactly.
get an accountant.
Yeah.
With the designing, I designed my own things, and I'm not a designer. My little sister is, luckily.
Yeah.
I designed it, and at some point I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I want it to be great.
Right.
So I asked my sister, how would you do this? She made like one preview. I'm like, this looks way better. So from that point on, like for my online course, I made everything in Paint, really basic, like blocks. Do a block here. This is the title. Something like this kind of balance with 3 stripes. And I sent it to her. And then the next day I get a beautifully designed bag.
Right.
Within my house style. And it really fits me, because obviously she knows me very well. So try all the things, but don't think you have to do it on your own.
Yeah, because then you lose focus from your main idea.
Yeah,
I think eventually
you lose focus from your main idea. You're going to lose a lot of other opportunities that will make you happy.
Yeah.
And also, we can get so much further and get so much more done in the world together.
That's what I wanted to hear from you. That's very important, that people, should be a little open towards everything. Yeah. Like, at least give it a shot. You might not like it. Leave it. But why?
There's another entrepreneur to collaborate with.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you have to close doors at the first go? That's something that bothers me a little bit, because I absolutely agree with the same thing, because when I started off, then designed the logo, and eventually you understand that this is not good, because I was never trained to do that.
No. And there's a reason that people study 4 years to be a designer.
Exactly. And that's where I wanted to connect it to the fact that I finally took out my savings to pay a designer to make a professional logo for me. That's let's say, a gamble that I had to take. And it was the best gamble of my life, I would tell you that. Because the logo that was made, by the end, not only that logo was beautiful, but it explained so many things for me that I never thought about. So that's where I realized that it's very important that I delegate things, collaborate with people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that connects to your whole idea as well.
Yeah, and it's usually if we talk specifically about entrepreneurs, it's usually a money thing, right? You want to save as much money because you don't have any money, so you want to make money first. But that's not going to happen. You're not going to make money if you don't spend it.
It's invested in the right ways.
I've never in my life have I not had savings until I started my own business.
Right.
Well, actually, just until last year, I got 3 years of... having a business and still having a little bit of savings, that little backup. And last year it was just gone. My ex-partner helped me with that by spending all my money and my company's money. So there was no place to live, no savings, no money to invest in my company anymore. I was like, shit. So what are we gonna do now? But you'll make a plan. There's people backing you up. Two of my friends said, "Come live here. We have 2 extra rooms that we don't use anyway. So just come live here, take a breath, get your life in order." So I moved in there 1st of March. And on the 17th, we went into a lockdown. So, because I told them, I'll be out by the end of the summer because I have all these things and going to collaborate with Maastricht University, blah, blah, blah. 17 days later, lockdown. 18 days later, I lost all my work. It basically cost me 10,000 euros, the corona crisis. So there you are. But I mean, there's going to be something else now. So government backed me up a little bit. Thank you, Rutte, in that support financially. And now it's all coming back so quickly. Like if I see what's coming up this next month in September, after that October, I'm already doubled my goals.
Right.
Because every month I put like an income goal. And right now everything that I have set is I already doubled it. Okay, well, it's coming back. It'll come back at some point, but you have to put it in. If it's not money, then it's time, it's energy, it's love. Put as much as you can in, because that's how much you're going to get back.
wasn't it amazing to listen to Katinka and her dreams, her life, and everything that she was talking about? It was very, very interesting for me to talk to Katinka, and I'm definitely looking out for the second part, and I hope you are too. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever your podcasting platforms allows you to do. Please do that so you don't miss on the second part and on the subsequent episodes that are going to be published on this podcast. The show is curated, hosted, written, produced, recorded by me. My name is Parth Chauhan. The theme music was composed by Cutie Honey Bunch, and the logo of Dhvani was designed by Soumya Garg. Dhvani Podcast can be found on all podcasting and music platforms like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, JioSaavn, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and every other place where podcasts are usually found. If you are inspired by the things that you listen on this podcast, or if you know somebody who can come onto this show, please reach out to me. You can write to me at info@dhvani.co.in. You can also log on to the website, that is dhvani.co.in, dhvani.co.in. If you feel like sharing something but not coming onto the show, you can send me voice notes on Facebook. You can also connect to me on Instagram. All these links are mentioned in the show notes in the description. You can check that out. And I think that's it. Until next time, thank you. It is very hot in India right now, so please take care of yourself and see you in the next one. Ciao.